And I have not been asking caucus affiliations of the people I've been speaking to. It just so happens that I've been speaking to, and my message has been resonating with people all across the spectrum. I think that's what any 2024 candidate is going to have to be doing, is not displaying one party wing interest or another. In fact, the further I can stay away from the infighting within this party as a candidate for president, I think that's the better for us, because our job is not to contribute to the infighting. Our job is to provide a better way forward, a better path forward, a message that is broadly positive, and you don't get that with infighting. So I can disagree with individual members on certain things or one thing or the other, or I can say, oh, the vice chair of whatever. That doesn't really matter to the average voter. The average voter does not know who is in charge of the LNC. They don't know who's in charge of the state affiliates. They just know who the candidates are. The candidates are who pushes the messaging. And I think if we're going to put a unifying message out there, that's something that can really go forward. But I don't want to see us infighting. I think that we've wasted far too much time, far too much energy over who controls the inner workings of a party that most people don't understand what it is. So if we're going to be fighting for votes and for voters, we don't have time to be fighting with other libertarians. We have to be fighting the Republican and Democratic message and breaking through the two-party static. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I hope everybody here will be doing.
Larry, if I may, that's not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is, how are you going to unify the party? And the answer is that you have to understand what the various interests in this party are. There are many people in this party on the right and on the left who have been disappointed with the way campaigns have been run in the past. That's true. Let that sink in. This is not unimportant, right? We cannot run away from the idea that people feel differently throughout our party. This is why the team that I have put together represents all of the party. We have people on our team, both in terms of paid people and team advisors who are on the Mises caucus. We have people who are not in the Mises caucus. The one thing that we do not put up with on our team is people who are anti-Mises or anti-un-Mises, right? I participate, in fact, this past weekend, I had fantastic conversations with the boards of the other caucuses as well. I'm a big believer in the classical liberal caucus and the radical caucus as well. They've had very, very thoughtful conversations about a big issue that's been going on in our party, the Rage Against the War Machine program that's going to be held in Washington on Sunday. I encourage libertarians within driving distance to be there. My campaign is a sponsor, and there have been issues that have come up about that organization.
We've been fighting about that even, Mike. We've been fighting about that too.
Yeah, we've been fighting about that. But, we wound up in a better place than we were a couple weeks ago. And now I think everyone should be fairly confident that we're going to have a great event, and that the vast majority of speakers, if not everyone, there's no guarantees, right? But the vast majority of speakers are going to be on point and agreeing with us and our anti-war message. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I plan to be there myself. So I don't think that we're going to solve these problems by putting our head in the sand. We need to recognize that we need to run campaigns that listen to all the pieces of the party and that react to those and that represent the interests of everyone in our Libertarian Party.
So far, my messaging doesn't seem to piss anybody off. So far the messaging that I'm putting forward, everybody seems to appreciate and like. Sometimes I get pushed back a little bit here and there, but I feel like that's the way to heal the party, is just come out with messaging that appeals to everybody and not the left-right message. That was my point, is that we got to stop the left-right messaging and get to ending the state, because that's the message that works for libertarians. The opposite of libertarian is authoritarian, right? That's the opposite. And so we want to end the authoritarian state. And it's not about the left-right stuff. There, like I said, there's plenty of people arguing that already in America. We don't need any more.
Mr. Rodriguez, you want to touch that?
Yeah, I'll just have pretty much the same answer that I had before.
Okay.
Each state, they have their own state rights, they have their own beliefs, they have their own organizations, and so they have their own special needs associated with their communities. And so my job as president of the United States, right, would be to support those communities in a different way. And you're going to go in and you're going to be boots on the ground and you're going to connect with those people. In my opinion, if people are going to have like social media fights and social media wars, that's fine. but that's not the goal. That's not the motivations of the Libertarian Party. It's really stop
did they
talking.
answer your
Let's get to
question
work.
now or no? I'm sorry, Mike, did they answer your question now or no?
This particular question? This particular question, I don't believe has been fully answered. I think that we've got candidates in our panel who are very much anti one caucus or the other. I think that that's too bad. I know that my campaign is above that, but it did not rise above that by disregarding the issue. We rise above it by listening to everybody in the party and working with all the caucuses. We work with leadership in each one of the states and recognize that people have differences, but we're building a team that can bring everyone together.
Party.
That's a great T-shirt slogan. If we're fighting each other, we can't fight the state. I'm
There
gonna
we go.
I mean,
turn
money
into
off
it
that
like
one.
agree with that.
bathing suits or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
We have to
Rodriguez.
unite the, I'm a big believer that we have to unite this party, and that's why we're running the type of campaign that we are. I think that we need to realize we have various parts and we need to bring them all together.